Hiya. Hello.
Morning, Michael.
Hiya. Thank you for coming, Chris. Really appreciate it. So I've got my little pen and paper. You'll be happy to hear.
Yeah.
Right. Gonna shoot off. So I will. We'll go through these questions. How to update the spreadsheet with you now. Then I'll open it up for some Q&A if anyone wants to ask any questions. And if not, I've got some stuff that I prepared for this meeting. So, Chris, the floor is yours. Simply and slowly explain to me what I need to change in the spreadsheet.
Okay, can I share the spreadsheet quickly so that everybody can see what this is all about? Uh, I'm trying to. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you
Yeah.
very well, but no screen share yet.
Okay, I'll send a request.
Yep, that's fine. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, so are you able to see it
No,
now?
no,
Not yet.
Did it come through?
no.
No.
Sorry about it. I've been trying to share it. I did hit the share button.
No, it's not coming on my side.
If you want, we can pull it up maybe too, Chris.
Okay. Daniel, if you don't mind, if you would pull it up, I can just, it's so simple that, it shouldn't take more than 1 minute.
Okay.
And we're talking about the main page with the links, right? The portfolio page.
I can send the link that I'm looking at so that
Yeah.
we can all be on the same page. Where's the chat out here? Chat. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will send it in the chat. So if you
Okay.
click on that link that I send in the chat, it will simply
Yeah.
pull up it's basically the 2024 performance spreadsheet. It's nothing different from what we already have.
Okay, you didn't add anything
Okay,
then?
ask for a request for access, but yeah, I will open it up on my side and I can
Yeah.
kind of go through it and then we can kind of, you can explain to me,
That sounds
yeah,
great.
what are the changes that are required.
Okay.
Okay, shoot. So yeah, I've,
Are you are you able to see the screen now?
I am able to see the screen, yes, but I don't think that you can. If I go to share, second.
There we go. It's working.
Oh, okay. There we go. I think finally we are able to get it.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so shoot off
Okay.
like what you want me to change and whatever. What
Yeah,
are the columns?
it's very simple. In this spreadsheet, in this column, right? I'm just saying like if we can add one which says Michael's comments,
Hmm.
that's one. And the second one says alerts. And that's it.
Okay, so
So
let's take
basically
this in
what you say
reverse order.
is,
Let's do the comments, the alerts first.
okay, so let's say, for example, you issued a alert, right? Like, let
Yeah,
me go to, is it, where do I need to actually go find where I keep where you keep all your alerts.
yeah. So I've not organized the alerts in any special order. Just um, the way that I did it was on the last column of the spreadsheet is date first recommended. So if a person was to look on date first recommended, they can then scroll through the feed to find the original analysis. But I'm not sure that that's always very helpful. For example, HIMSS was more than like 2.5 years ago, even 3 years ago now that I recommend. I don't think that that's particularly relevant. Same with other businesses like Robinhood that's been more than a year, that original analysis of the trade alert is not that useful to somebody that is thinking about allocating capital today. Like, it's more important, in my opinion, for someone to look for, the latest analysis rather than the first analysis.
Okay, so we just put the latest one here. That's it.
Okay, yeah, that's easy to do. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Now the comments, yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot of people ask you a lot of questions
Yeah.
in the chat.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to repeat the same thing.
Mhm.
So what I was thinking is, in that column which says Michael's comments,
Mhm.
you put it there once. And because everybody has a link to the spreadsheet, all they
Mhm.
need to do is first go check there.
Mhm.
And that way it will be easy for you to scale it, because
Okay.
otherwise you'll be
Yeah.
answering the same question to every single person.
So there's only two questions that people ask in a cycle. So when the market is going up for 3 or 4 weeks in a row, the comment is, what can I buy now? And when the market goes through a cool-off period, like in 3 or 4 weeks after that, is like, why is my stock down? So it's just a repeat. It's like, it's the same. It's just investor sentiment of like, when people are excited, like, oh, what can I do now? Because people are excited, they want action. And when the stock is down, people are like, oh, why is my stock down? Like, oh, like, I can name hundreds of these examples, but let's say Giga Cloud Technology. Oh, the stock is down because insider selling. I'm like, okay, I understand that, but the owners private equity, so it's just in the name. They will sell because that's how it happens. And then another stock will be like Hims and Hers. Why is Hims and Hers CEO saying this and this is causing the stock to be down? So it's just essentially the comments that I'm trying to provide to people is just this: stay with the business and don't use a stop loss. And that's it, really. But that's just a repetition of what I say on every conversation, because perfect two examples, the Gig Technology and with Hims and Hers. These stocks, particularly Hims and Hers, has been a massive winner for me, but only because I just sat on my hands. But anyone that has tried to be smart here, I'm willing to bet that person has not had any successful returns, not to mention the returns that I've had. Now, I'm not saying that you always buy and hold forever. I can give plenty of examples where things do not work out. But generally speaking, the comments that I provide to people are just these two comments. It's just, stay with the business, give it time, and don't use a stop loss. That's really what I'm saying. There's nothing more to it. Sorry, Daniel, did you want to say something? Yeah, do you want?
Yeah, I think maybe Chris, this is kind of maybe what I think Chris is pointing to and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. Like probably a dozen people asked you, is LEU still a buy? And if you had like a comment section, can buy LEU up to blah blah blah, or like buy at any rate, like that way that question doesn't need to keep getting repeated. You can say like, check my chart.
That's some good advice. I will think about how to do that. So I constructed a service in the view that if the roles were reversed, I'll be willing to pay for it. And I would typically want to read why a person is recommending, for example, LEU, like, Centrus Energy. Like, why does it make sense? I wouldn't want the person just to put a line that says, buy at any price, because that wouldn't give me conviction. And essentially, what I'm trying to provide for people, and I got the thing, I'll just stop sharing for a second. What I'm trying to provide for people is conviction. I believe that okay, so this is my belief, and I'm so wrong on so many things in life, even that sentence. I'm so wrong so often that it's like you can take or leave whatever I say. But My ambition is to get, let's say, 2 or 3 years of outperformance where people say, okay, you know what? I am an okay investor, or I am new to investing, but I think that Michael can deliver results that are better than the S&P. And they'll say, okay, you know what? It makes more sense to me to maybe put some money into Michael's stock rather than me trying to time the market and kind of trying to be really smart. I will say something else. Now, I don't have any proof of this, but I am very much convinced that the majority of people that bought Peloton from my service bought it at above, let's say, $5.50. And the mass majority got really nervous last Friday when the stock sold off 13%. And in the interim, so, if I just not too intelligent and I just bought it when I recommended it, no market timing, I just bought it when I recommended it. On that Monday, it was at $4.60, I think. And I just was really retarded and didn't do anything and didn't try. Now, obviously, this is an investment that has worked out, but generally speaking, I offer this spreadsheet to show to people, hey, you can be like the biggest idiot. You just buy when I recommend. Don't average. Don't do anything. Just literally buy when I recommend it and don't do anything else. And you'll be up about 37, 38% this year. And that's what I want to try and do, and grow that so that next year, because this game is one where it really helps if you're older and you have a longer track record and you had more years to build that. So I get that, but I want it to be a really dumb way of doing investing that you don't have to overcomplicate, because there are some people, like George here on the call. Hello, hi George. Have a lot of time on their hands, and they, like, I've spoken to George, and I know that George is retired, so he has more time on his hands. Luke, like flipping at you see on the comment stream, the guy has a lot of time on his hands. But there are other people, maybe like you, Daniel, maybe like someone else, maybe like Chris, have a really tight time on their hands. And they don't want to be in a situation where they're like, oh, what should I do? Do I buy, do I sell? And they're like, and in my experience, I try to provide people with, within reason, what's possible, with clear, transparent buy and sell targets, so that people are not left in this limbo of what shall I do. We talked about Centrus before. This is an example that is big timely because of what happened yesterday. So with Centrus, I bought and I said, at any price, I would not sell. Like, I will not sell this business at any price in 2024. And the same with uranium and Chicago. And I just, the stock was down 28% yesterday. Obviously, there was two aspects here that played a role. First, they raised some capital. So, market never likes that. Secondly, and I believe actually what really carried the day was that Amazon had some hiccups with their Talon Energy partnership, if you want to call it that. So that's kind of like a lot of the nuclear ideas went out of favor. So these two combined was very easy to sell this news, short this news. On top of that, the share price had been going vertically up. So a lot of people got really anxious, and the combination or the confluence of these three factors coming together led the stock to be down 28%. And I'm saying, okay, you know what? I recognize that. I see that is happening, but that is not a major news driver to where this business is going to be next year. And that's really what inflection investing is about. Inflection investing is about, I believe that next year's free cash flow is going to be substantially higher than people presently believe. And it's no more complicated than that. And Yeah, I've kind of waffled on a little bit, but Chris, does that kind of, I'm sorry to kind of do kind of overtake and waffle, but like I will provide the links there for the articles, um, but I kind of feel hesitant to say black and white, like these are the comments that you should follow, because investing isn't black and white. I feel that I personally would like to, an article is so short, man, like 3-4 minutes to read it. It's not a lot of stuff. Um, but I give the price target, and I've made mistakes in the past, but generally speaking, in my experience, they kind of do hit those price targets. So I don't want to make investing too black and white because it's not black and white, you know. But at the same time, I'm trying to, as much as possible, simplify it to one or two attributes that matter to that stock. That's a lengthy reply, but what do you think, Chris, of what I said?
Yeah, a perfect example is I forget the lady's name, Lena, I think,
Mm-hmm.
was about LEU shares that were
Mm-hmm.
going to be new shares which were going to be issued, and she asked, "Hey, what's going to happen to this?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you responded.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, Something like that is what I would put in the
yeah,
Michael's
yeah.
comments
That's
column, right? So
yeah, yeah,
now, if somebody missed that or they want to refer to it like 1 month
yeah,
later, it's still there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then the next column, which has the alerts,
yeah,
which has the latest alerts
yeah,
that you publish, that column allows people to do a deep dive and
yeah,
really understand the business case, why
yeah,
you
yeah.
present it,
Okay,
and
cool.
what's
I'm
the.
sold.
So
I'm
just
sold.
having
Okay.
those two is for each of those stocks. For
Yeah,
example, like I'm new to this service.
yeah.
So the only thing I have invested in so far is
Mm-hmm.
literally I bought like 50 shares of LEU yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That's all my DVR portfolio
Yeah.
is at this point of time
Okay.
because I didn't have enough time to.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, I've been watching things,
Yeah.
but I didn't. I'm not trying to market time it, but to move a substantial amount of my money
Yeah,
into
I get it. I get
5%
it.
of each of the
Yeah.
stocks is something which is going to take me almost
Yeah.
6 months to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
9 months to even do it. Right? It's not
Yeah.
something I can do on a dime. So like I see DKNG in the
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
spreadsheet, but
DraftKings. Yeah.
now I need to go figure out, okay, what is the alert for DKNG? What was the business case behind it? What
Mm-hmm.
conversations took place? What is
Yeah.
Michael thinking
Yeah.
about DKNG? The latest
Yeah.
thing that Michael is thinking about from a DKNG perspective. So those two things I don't have. So imagine I'm going to ping you. Okay, you
Yeah.
answer it. Great. Now I have to do, let's say I ping you for all the 20 stocks. Then
Yeah.
some new member joins tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's going to ping you
Yeah.
again
Yeah.
for all
Yeah.
the 20 stocks. Then a new member joins. They're going to
Yeah.
do that. You're going to get overwhelmed.
Yeah. 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 Okay, I'm sold. Yeah, I'm good. Good. Yeah, fine. I will. The latest alert is easy to do. That's easy. The latest
Yeah.
comment, I'll start populating it going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That.
people can just read. One more
Yeah.
thing is I have a spreadsheet which has the 2024 performance, which is what I put in the chat here.
Mhm.
But I just realized that you shared some spreadsheet which said November 2024. So I
Yeah.
think,
So there are two spreadsheets. One is the performance.
uh-huh.
Okay. And the other one is shows the price target and the price that was originally bought. But so the difference, let me just check.
Is it possible to
So the
have just
main
one?
difference, so I don't do the performance spreadsheet. Vasilis does this performance spreadsheet, but I like to keep these two separate because that shows the evolution throughout the year. So
Okay,
stock
that's fine.
bought, stock sold, and
I'm
you
good
can
with that.
see, yeah,
I don't
it's
think I
kind.
have the link to the other one, which,
So
I
they're
mean, I
both on the
have the one which
dashboard.
I shared, but I don't think I have the
So
link to the
they're both
other
on the
one.
dashboard on the Seeking Alpha one, on the Seeking Alpha
Okay,
side, they're both on the dashboard. On the Substack,
it's there.
it's
Okay,
and the articles on the front page.
I'll look it up.
Yeah,
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, Chris, there's
okay.
a portfolio and then there's a performance. So just
Yeah,
go to each one of those.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Daniel.
cool.
Yeah, and I wonder, just to Chris's comment, I wonder if like more circling back to your summary page, Michael,
Mhm.
could be helpful because that often does answer a lot of these questions, I feel like.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like where you update that pretty regularly and maybe people don't always think to go check that.
Yeah, okay. The summary page, what do you mean by the summary page?
So when you update the portfolio,
Yeah,
like when you have your summary of your stocks, like you like go through them all basically. You got your uranium, your tech
yeah, yeah,
stocks,
yeah,
you
yeah,
list
yeah, yeah. I
everything
know
out
what you
and
mean.
that's like a really good summary. Like you keep that up to date, and I think it's like it often can address some of these things too.
Yes, yeah. But I feel, yeah, I'm sold on Chris's idea. I feel like uh, sometimes people just want kind of a snapshot. Yeah, I'm quite happy to try and do these two aspects, the comments thing. I do feel like, investing is very seasonal, and obviously every quarter is kind of really intense, these 2 3 weeks now going forward, and then it kind of dissipates. So there's a lot of people that are interested in their stocks now, but then it kind of calms down. But in these 2 3 weeks, you still need to survive, right? So it's kind of like it gets really intense. Yeah. Okay. Cool, man.
Yeah. So one column basically tells very quickly what you're thinking about a particular stock. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a 1 minute quick,
Yeah.
okay, this is
Yeah.
what I'm thinking about this. And the second column basically gives a deep dive to anybody who wants to go into the gory details and read
Yeah.
everything, which is
Yeah. Yeah.
actually captured in your alerts.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So you
Cool.
just put the latest alerts there, and so we get both. And
Yeah.
there's no need to bother you each time for every single stock.
Cool. Yeah. I'm very happy with that. Thank you. Are there any other questions that people want to discuss today?
Yes, Michael, this is
Hi.
Haji. Am I echoing?
Hi. Yeah. Can I? Thank you.
We can hear
Okay.
you.
All right. Michael, I have a kind of comment what has been happened on last week and a half for myself reflection, and also a question for you at the end of that comment. So within a week and a half, like it's like a roller coaster with all those like earnings reports and everything. And I do get your point. You're saying that don't try to be the smart, don't try to time the
Mm-hmm.
market,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like for me personally, it's sometimes like even though you're telling those, it's hard to follow your
Yeah.
recommendations. Such as I
Yeah.
made these mistakes on Reddit and the Facebook, the Meta, okay, and then I regret those mistakes. Then when the day come for the peloton, like on one day between the 31st and the November 1st, it's kind of $7 to
Mm-hmm.
like the eight and a like maybe I don't know $8
Mm-hmm.
80 cents. Well, I don't know like what was the highest one, and I was really looking for over there. And previously, like I have a friend, like we were talking, I mentioned about the peloton, and I said like, hey, like I'm following a good analyst, like
Mm-hmm.
recommendation price, target price is $8. And that day, like he called me, hey, I'm selling this. I said okay, because I made two mistakes previously, not listening
Mm-hmm.
to you, and I was waiting for the trade alert for
Mm-hmm.
peloton, but then you post a message, or you said like let's wait till the dust settle.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
So my
100% correct.
question, yeah, my question for you, I know like since you're running a huge subscription group, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the timing is really like the hectic and everything. But if you were just like single investor, just
Mm-hmm.
doing for yourself, would you like the wait, or would you sell the peloton on that day, just if you were just by yourself? Because like
No,
to
no,
me,
I wouldn't.
there's
So,
still
so,
something in
so,
here. I said, man, like why did we left a dollar,
mhm.
at least a dollar on the table
Okay.
per share?
Yeah, let me answer that. So, first on Peloton, you know, chillax. We're gonna be cool, man. Like, give it like 3 4 weeks. Like, maybe we'll get it above 8. Like, let's just be cool. Sit on your hands. Like, you know, between now and let's say 3 4 weeks, if you can get an extra 10 15% kind of, that's okay. Okay, so like, chillax first. Second of all, I don't know your friend, but let me tell you something. Nobody is in this game trying to time the top. Okay, you're along for the journey. It's a time in the stock, not timing the stock. Okay, so it's going to be okay. About Meta and about Reddit, Meta is complicated. I know it's terrific business. You know it's terrific business. Everybody knows it's terrific business. That's not what we're discussing here. Like, we're discussing whether the valuation going forward into next year is attractive. Here's the word, enough. That I'm a bit more kind of like on question mark. It may be, like, but why bother? You know. So that's on Meta. On Reddit, you haven't missed anything. I don't know, like, like I'm gonna hold this for like a year. Like, you know, let's see how it goes. You know, like, you haven't missed anything. Nothing's happened. Actually, you know, my pricing to Reddit was really bad. I think like it was, I think 115, something like that. So like I'd already written it. I'd gone to get my girl from school. I'd come back. Like it was like the worst price. Like you couldn't. But I'm quite relaxed about this because I just know that like it doesn't really matter. Yeah. On that day, if you look on the chart, it's like blah blah blah. But if you actually wait like 6-7 months, you're gonna be like, oh my god, that's like a little blip. You know, it's like it's not gonna make a big difference. That's like try and get the big moves. Don't try and kind of sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, I'm still trying to educate myself on the psychology of this market. You know, like it's tough for me. I'm at the early stage of my investment.
Right? It's tough for everyone. It is tough for everyone. There's no denying it. And there are no shortcuts, you know. And it's easy for me to stay and say this, blah blah. But you know, people forget so quickly, so quickly. People forget that stocks go through waves. You know, just like I don't know if you work out or not, but just like I go to the gym and sometimes I'm kind of like in that wave, in that mood, you know, stocks go up and down, and it's like a sea, you know. And have you ever done surfing? It's like surfing. You like when you're trying to catch the damn wave, you just driven for like 2 hours to get to the damn beach, and you get there and you spend like 3 hours waiting for a good wave. That's how it is, you know. And don't like try and be like super smart and think like in investing. I believe that when a person comes to the market trying to make money, they end up losing money. And in fact, you know, if you just try and think about being safe, you know, Buffett's rule number 1, don't lose money. Try and think about being safe. It's actually better, you know, I feel. But that is not as exciting, you know. And that goes back to what I'm saying, like, know the game that you're playing. If you want to have fun, like maybe I've said this to people in the past, I haven't said it for a while, but put some like, I don't know, 5% of your portfolio into these kind of options and, you know, blow that up, and like the rest of the 95% of the portfolio, like think of it as, you know, like what are you trying to do over a course of a year? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So Daniel wrote about Cecil and Powell, that, and I could say Palantir as well, and I applaud him for that matter.
I wasn't around for those two, but I can say with Cecil and Powell, we were like buying it at the high, and I was like, okay, but Michael's got a vision here. I'm gonna just sit on this, and so I'm not worried about it. Did they go down a little bit? Yeah, and then I bought them again, and that's how I got even more on Powell, I think, if I recall. And both of these were like at the top, right? So I think that's where the psychology and like trusting Michael's.
It's so difficult. Yeah. It's really, really difficult. For example, I don't know, like it's different ways to look at the market, but ultimately it doesn't matter what happened, you know, yesterday. Yes, the share price today, for example, I recommended Astera Labs, and yes, compared to yesterday, the share price is really, really high, but that doesn't tell you anything about what it's going to look like in the summer of next year. Like, it doesn't tell you anything. Yeah, okay, relative to where it came from, it's high, but doesn't tell you anything. It can go down as well as up. And yeah, and I feel like the best advice is really to work to preserve the capital, and a lot of investors come to the market trying to beat the market. And if you come with that attitude, it's really brutal, man. It's so brutal. It's that is going to chew you up. You're always going to feel like you're going to miss out. You're always missing out, you know? And yeah, it's really difficult if you come with that
Thank you.
attitude.
Thank you, man.
Does anyone else have any other questions they want to ask?
Can I ask one question, Michael?
Yeah.
Just because I do want to understand your logic on Piton. So
Yeah.
like obviously all of us were just like kind of amazed that like this actual like free cash flow positive now. So like that story is just like hitting, I feel like
Yeah.
really well. And like so, I was just trying to understand, do you feel like there's too many unpredictable things to really hedge on like more? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Well, no. So I'll be upfront and honest.
Yeah.
The issue with Peloton today is the same issue that it had when I recommended it. The subscriber base is churning out. And this, is what drives the blood or the revenue stream for the business. And if you have a shrinking revenue base, you can squeeze those costs. But at some point, you got to do something. Because it's not just Peloton. There's other businesses like I think in the US they got Bomax. There's different ones, like there's different types of these bicycles. Like these bicycles, spinning bicycles have been around since like the late 90s or whatever, It's not just Peloton. There's loads of these. And if you have a shrinking subscriber base, man, it's rough, And let's say, for the sake of our discussion, next quarter they find out the subscriber base hasn't really churned down as much, and that share goes to 12, 15. Wow, phenomenal. I feel great. But if I know that the risk is in my face and I go through the earning results next quarter and it blows up on me, the first thing that people are going to be coming back to me and say, Michael, why did you round trip again? I've already been out with Valsta, I've already been out with Money Lion, like PDD, I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Like, it's not worth it. And I know, really, I can find other names. I don't need to kind of fall in love with the idea. I can find other names. And, the way that I see investing, at least, is there's always a risk. There's no free lunch. There's never any free lunch. And it's just whether you know that risk is there or you haven't actually figured out what the risk is. I feel like I figured out what the risk is. And I feel like a complete idiot if the risk that I was aware of came to pass. Because this stock is highly shorted and it would collapse like a pancake on the back of those results. It would just collapse. And I feel like when you buy something cheap, you don't need to be a genius. You can kind of have a vague idea, but the higher the share price, the more certainty you need. Like we gave the example before of Meta. Like Meta is a phenomenal business, blah, blah, blah. We all know those things. There's a lot of certainty there. And with Peloton, everyone believes that it's a business that's going to become bankrupt, and all of a sudden turns out that a business actually can make some profit. So that difference goes from an ugly business to a mediocre business. And that, in my opinion, drives the bulk of the re-rating of a stock. I believe that, the bulk of the money that you can make in my way of inflection investing is getting that perception right. But you need to be humble enough not to do those mistakes like I did in the summer. So, this everyone says it's such a cliche, but investing is truly humbling. And, when you make those big mistakes, that was the cost you needed to put down to learn that lesson. And if you do the same mistake again, you need to repay that cost. So how many times do I need to pay the same cost to learn that lesson? That's the question. And, any investor is, that's reasonably good, is trying to be better than, let's say, 50%. And if you're like the Peter Lynch quote, if you're terrific in this game, you're 60% of the time right, but you're 40% wrong. That's pretty brutal. Like, that's really, really brutal. So it's better to exit the party while everyone is singing and dancing. And
that makes sense.
specifically, did I answer like my thought on Paladin specifically?
Yeah, and I think that was like, that's like, is it? Yeah, like I think that makes sense because, like you said, isn't something where if things are a little south, it will just stay elevated. It will drop, like you said. And I think that's what I'm trying to understand is what stocks can have an okay earnings report, not like example with Robinhood. Like a little bit of drop, but nothing like, I mean, it was still like a 10% drop, but it wasn't, I don't feel like the floor is falling, right? Versus I think like you're saying, like with Peloton, if things aren't looking good, it's going to go back down to 3 or 4,
because
right?
everybody hates on that business, right?
Yes.
Everybody's hating on that business. So the people want to be vindicated that they are right for hating. These, I call them untested businesses. You know, Hims and Hers is a good example. It's an untested business. These untested businesses, the market wants to disbelieve them and is looking for an excuse to disbelieve it. And if you give the market, look, Hims and Hers was also phenomenal and the share price is down. So there's people just want to hate on that business. And even when there's also fantastic, people are like, it's a piece of crap. That's a whole different discussion.
Technology. Yeah. I feel like those are the harder ones to like, there's some like that's what I'm like, there is a psychology to like, what is the overall consensus and like the push, is there a big push to like short it versus, you know, and eventually like, I mean, the timing is, that's why I appreciate everything you're doing is like, it really helps simplify it. It's just, I'm like, trying to like get to like those little like I mean each time I read your reports I'm getting more and more understanding, so I really appreciate what you're doing in summary, and you know think it's been super helpful.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think I'll wrap it on that good note, positive note. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much everyone for your call, and I'll take your comments on board, Chris, and so hopefully see you next week.
Thank you all.
Thank you
Thanks
so much.
a lot.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye-bye, George.